I'm Kimberly. Welcome to Simply Living in a Small Town. I hope everyone had a great weekend and hope you're having a beautiful Monday. So I wanted to do this video earlier today. This has just been, I did not get really anything finished by Friday. So then I thought, well, I can do a video on Saturday, and then I got to working on other things and not crochet. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll do it Sunday. So if that tells you anything, and I didn't quite get, I'm trying to think, did I get, y'all, I don't remember. I may have had these done yesterday. I think, well, I might have had them done late Saturday. I don't remember. But I finished, I had the 3 sunflowers to finish. So I had, that's right, I had one of them done by Friday. So I have 2 here. And I had gotten one done by Friday because I hurried up Friday morning and weaved in the tails and that so that I could give one to my chiropractor, which of course he was surprised. He actually, he was like, oh really, that's for me? And then he said, I'm going to give it to one of the ladies in one of the offices to put on her desk. And I was, oh, okay. And so he thought that was really cute. He was really surprised. But, well, he did show all the ladies up the front desk too. And so that was pretty funny as well. But I was actually trying to get something else done to show y'all, is what it was too, because I had those. And I was also trying to finish this shrug so I can show you all that. And that was what I know I didn't get done over the weekend because it still isn't done. So I will show you that in just a minute. But I had chiropractor today. My husband is now going to. He recently went, so last week he went to the chiropractor, had x-rays done, all that, and found out he had 8 compressed discs and 3 different spots in his spine. So he is now going to the chiropractor weekly, just like me, but we're going at 2 different times. So it's a little bit awkward, to say the least, right now, because you know, my daughter has her classes from 8:30 to almost 1, and so and she's homeschooling, but they're live classes, so she has to be there. And I mean, you know, it's okay if she misses a day on occasion, but I mean, as a given, I cannot pull her, you know, I can't just have her do the work whenever or whatever. She's doing live classes. So the difference is she's just not sitting at school doing them. She's doing them online. So yeah, that's making this even more, quite a bit of juggling, to say the least, between him going and I going. So we both went today, but at 2 separate times. So he went a little earlier this morning than I did, even though he really didn't want to go because he didn't want to get up that early, and I knew that was gonna happen because he's used to sleeping later because he works nights. Well, it's second shift, and he doesn't get out till midnight. So, but he doesn't get home till, you know, around 2 in the morning. I think it's after midnight. Maybe 12:30 he gets out. But anyway, he doesn't get home then till like about 2 o'clock. So anyhow, he's used to that. And so him getting up at 8 something this morning was he didn't really want to do, but that's okay. It didn't hurt him. So yeah, we both went, and that was just fine today. But I was pleasantly surprised, y'all, because my chiropractor told me today that he wants 20 flowers from me. That he wants to buy 20 flowers. So I am just ecstatic about that. And I told him, I said, well, I was actually making these for a church craft bazaar I was supposed to be doing, but I ended up like dropping out of that because of my dad being in the hospital, because he'd known about that. I said, but you know, he had been in the hospital off and on. Well, he had been in the hospital for 2 weeks and then whatnot. So I told him, I said, I'm not sure how many of them I have done, but I have them all in a little tote at home. I'll have to check and see how many I have. And he said, well, I know I want at least 20 of them, you know. And I said, that's fine. So, and I told him there were various different ones. They weren't all sunflowers. So I told him, I said, I'll bring them in, you know, and then he can pick out, in other words, what he wants out of there. But I'd like to have, so currently I have 14. I need at least 20, apparently. So yeah, I'm going to make 6 more. So currently I started another face here, and the color of this is some more Premier Chanel from Dollar Tree. The color's oyster, so it's actually like a skin tone color. See, it actually looks white. That's a little bit better there. But it's actually a little more, I mean, it's really like a skin, that's kind of, but not really. It's a little more, got a little peachiness to it, kind of. Let's see how well that shows up. Kind of, but it's kind of a cream, you know, it's not. So yeah, this one I've got one more row to do on its face. So my plan is kind of to do what I did with the last few, these sunflowers that I did, and just do like the face. Once I get faces done, then kind of like an assembly line, you know, and then do the legs, and then do all the petals. The petals are actually the most time consuming part. It's not too bad, but there's quite a few more stitches in each stitch, if you will. You know, there's like four stitches in each stitch or whatnot. So yeah, I would like to really make about 8 of them, just so there's a couple extra, because then, so, you know, if he wants one that's like, oh, I'd rather have another one of that or whatnot, you know. It'd kind of be nice if I had like 25 of them done, but I literally only have, y'all. So he said, well, just bring them when you come back next time. Well, I'm going back Wednesday morning. So that means I have, this is around 7 something o'clock at night, by the way, on Monday, of course. And I have basically tonight, tomorrow, which tonight, not much is going to get done probably. But I have then all day tomorrow. If I had to finish up a little bit of something Wednesday morning, that would be okay. But it had to be like not making a whole flower. You know, I'd have to be just weaving in some ends or something. So anyway, so I need to at least get 6 more done. Because then that way, at least I have 20. Because he's just wanting to actually give these as gifts for, he's looking at buying Christmas gifts already. And these are like for his co-workers. And he said a neighbor and like different people. So I thought that was really cool. And he told me, he said, since you always have such a positive attitude, like, see, like this is kind of, you know, me giving back to you, and then And I said, what, like paying it forward. And he's like, well, yeah, because you're always so positive and I want to share that with others. And I thought, that's just so sweet. So I just love it. I thought that was fantastic. He was talking about that, sharing the positivity. And I thought that's so funny because the other day when I gave him one. I thought I'd like to have some extras, of these and just like randomly give to people and whatnot. Just because I think, when I gave him that the other day, I said it's just something to bring a little bit of happiness and a smile to, a person's face. And he was like, well, yeah, so I really like that. I would like to have, you know, some extras on hand off and on because then I'd like to just give one randomly here and there to people. So um I think we just need more of that. I mean, and that's just in general. I mean, obviously, there's been so many things happen, especially even more recently, and I'm telling you, I've been down a rabbit hole with watching something specifically, and I'm not going to say what it is, but it really is something that I can truly relate to, and really sad story, but there's just so much. There's so many terrible things going on in the world. It's just awful, really. So, I know this is something small and trivial, but it's just an idea to brighten a person's day, and that's what I want to do, So, and I have reasons to not always be positive myself, trust me. I struggle with depression, and that I think the majority of the country, I've had this conversation with my actual therapist, that I said, I think the majority of the country at this point has, like, mental health is a huge problem in this country. Clearly, and some of the things we've seen again in the news points and dictates to that as well. But it's a huge problem in this country. And I told her, I said, I feel like at this point in this day and age, like the majority of the country has mental illness. Like the majority of us do, because so many of us at the very least struggle with depression and or anxiety, and that's mental illness. So I mean, so it is a huge problem, but nonetheless, I try to always remain positive. I look to the Lord for a lot of my, it's like I'll be in that depressed state. I try not to bottom out because oh wow, I've done that before. Like, just get to this, you feel like you're at the bottom of this pit and you can never climb out of it. That's a terrible feeling. But I usually, like, I don't get to where I've gotten before, except for obviously last year when my son died. Um, and that is still something that I cannot reconcile and ever get over, because he's my son, which, if you're a mother, like, that child is a part of you, and I just cannot. I know he's not suffering anymore or anything like that, but he is a part of me and always will be. So, but anyway, nonetheless, I try to always be positive. I've always had this attitude that, well, tomorrow's a new day. Like, and I try to be, even if, like, yesterday was the worst, like one of the worst days, I try to look at the next day. Well, tomorrow's another day. It's another new beginning. It's another day of possibilities. And so, and you don't have to agree with my opinion of how I, like when I said I look to the Lord, I don't judge others that don't, like, believe in that. That's it's okay. I can relate to most people in general, period. So I don't judge people based on that one way or another. I don't believe that's right anymore than a lot of other things as far as, I think we're all judgmental, but, I try to be very mindful of that, but I think, in some capacity, we all are to some extent. So, anyway, but yes, that was fantastic news for my chiropractor to say, oh, I want 20 of those flowers. And that just blew me away. So, that was exciting news for me. So, now I'm going to show you this. And it is almost done, but not quite. My shrug that I'm working on. And I mean, in all technicality, I probably could have went ahead like a row or two ago and just, said I'm done and sewn it up and that. But I'm kind of like, well, I think that I should go a little bigger because I keep trying it, and pulling it over and like kind of, you know, flip it around so you can actually see the right side. And it basically just looks like a baby blanket because right now, you know, you can't even really hardly see that it's a granny square. But it is. I think the colors are so, there you go, so kind of blending. Here's the skein. Let's see. No, yes, maybe. You can kind of see it, but it's greens and reds and browns, kind of very fall-ish, I thought. So yeah, this, I want to finish this, and I have been sitting here working on this, and then I switched to the flower face because I'm like, I've got to get going on that, y'all. I mean, the shrug I wanted done, and it's literally almost done, and I wanted to get it done and show y'all. But the thing is obviously the flowers is my more pressing at the moment because I have an order for those. So anyway, so this yarn, by the way, is, you can look it up online. It is the Hobby Lobby yarn, and the colorway is Prairie Grass. So I actually have like a skein there. You can kind of see it's a light multicolor. This one here is like a lighter version of this one. And that colorway is Bloom Teak, and it's literally like a pale, kind of a paler, more muted version of this. So this is what I'm doing for the moment, and I do plan to come back tomorrow. Fingers crossed, y'all, that I should be able to get that done tomorrow. Obviously, along with making flowers, I can just show you my progress on that, for if nothing else. So I'm getting a, I need more fluids is what I'm trying to say. So till next time, I shall see you. Bye now, and God bless.